2025, the year you put yourself first. Unlocking your best self, why 2025 is the year you take control of your life. As the clock strikes midnight and the world ushers in a brand new year, let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror? Truly looked beyond the reflection and thought about the person staring back? Not their achievements, their roles, or how they fit into the expectations of others, but who they are at the core. This year, I want you to pause and let that thought linger. Because 2025 is not just another year. It's an opportunity to realign, to focus, to make yourself the priority for once. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Focusing on myself? Isn't that selfish? And to that, I'll say, absolutely not. Prioritizing yourself is an act of courage. It's about understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you don't take care of your own foundation, everything else you build will eventually crumble. This is the year we stop living in fragments and start living whole. Let me paint you a picture. Think about a house, its walls, roof, windows, all looking perfect from the outside. But what if the foundation is cracked? No matter how beautiful it appears, it's only a matter of time before it collapses. That's what happens when we ignore our inner world. When we're too busy tending to everyone else's needs, leaving our own neglected. This year, let's rebuild that foundation. Brick by brick. Step by step. With patience and intention. And rebuilding begins with healing. Healing, a word we often hear but rarely embrace fully. Healing is messy, uncomfortable, even painful at times. It's about sitting with the parts of yourself you've avoided for years, peeling back layers of unresolved wounds, and daring to face what you've been running from. Maybe it's heartbreak, maybe it's regret, or maybe it's the silent voice of fear telling you that you're not enough. But here's the truth, until you confront those shadows, they'll always hold you back. Let this year be the time you finally shine a light on them. Now, as you do this inner work, something magical begins to happen. You start to see the importance of boundaries. And oh, how often we forget about those. How often we let others take from us time, energy, attention, without asking ourselves if we have anything left to give. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out, they're gates that let the right people in. They're the lines that protect your peace and prioritize your well-being. And yes, setting boundaries will make some people uncomfortable. But here's the thing, the ones who truly value you will respect them. And the ones who don't, well, maybe their season in your life has passed. Speaking of seasons, let's talk about letting go. This is one of the hardest lessons to learn, isn't it? We cling to things, people, habits, even when we know they no longer serve us. Why? Because they're familiar. They feel safe. But growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when you release what's weighing you down to make room for something better. Letting go isn't about giving up, it's about trusting that what's meant for you will stay and what's not will leave. It's about understanding that every goodbye is also a hello to something new. And as you make space for the new, you start to redefine what success means to you. Let me tell you a secret, success isn't about the titles you earn, the money you make, or the applause you receive. True success is waking up every morning with a sense of purpose, going to bed with peace, and living a life that feels authentically yours. It's about aligning with your values, following your passions, and creating a life that reflects who you are, not who the world thinks you should be. But here's where it gets tricky. The moment you start focusing on yourself, people will notice. And not all of them will like it. Some will call you selfish. Others will accuse you of changing. And you know what? They're right. You are changing. Because staying the same isn't an option when you're committed to growth. Let their words roll off your back. Because their opinions are not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your growth, your peace, your journey. And oh, what a journey it will be. There will be days when it feels like you're soaring, and others when it feels like you're barely crawling. There will be moments of doubt, of failure, of questioning if it's all worth it. But let me remind you, every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Every stumble is a lesson. Every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger. Take a moment to imagine yourself at the end of 2025. Picture the person you've become, the strength you've built, the peace you've cultivated, the joy you've found in simply being you. That vision is not a dream, it's a destination. And the path to it starts now, with the choices you make today. So, let's make this the year you stop waiting for the perfect time, the right circumstances, or the approval of others. Let's make this the year you start creating the life you deserve. Focus on yourself. Not out of arrogance, but out of love. Not to isolate, but to grow. Because when you become the best version of yourself, you inspire others to do the same. And that, my friends, is how you change the world, by starting with yourself. So take that first step. Trust the process. And watch as 2025 becomes the year everything changes. For the better. For you. Now, let's dig deeper into what really holds us back. Let's talk about fear, that sneaky, silent companion that whispers doubts into our ears. Fear tells you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail if you try, that others will judge you. It convinces you to stay where you are, even if that place is far from where you want to be. Fear thrives on inaction, feeding on your hesitation. But here's the truth, fear only has as much power as you give it. Facing your fear isn't about eliminating it, it's about acting despite it. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the determination to move forward even when fear is shouting at you to stop. Each time you take a step into the unknown, you weaken fear's grip and strengthen your resolve. So in 2025, starve your fear. Silence it with action. Let each small victory remind you of your strength. Failure, too, deserves a fresh perspective. We've been conditioned to see failure as something to avoid, a mark of inadequacy. But failure is a natural part of growth. Think of it as a stepping stone, a teacher guiding you towards success. The most successful people in history, from inventors to artists to entrepreneurs, all share a common trait: they failed. Often repeatedly. What set them apart was their ability to learn from those failures and keep going. This year, let failure refine you, not define you. Another trap we often fall into is comparison. How many times have you scrolled through social media and felt a pang of inadequacy? Comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel? Comparison steals your joy and shifts your focus away from your own path. Remember, your journey is unique. You're not in a race, you're crafting a story that's entirely your own. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and trust that you're exactly where you need to be. Let's address another hidden challenge, the fear of letting go. Whether it's a toxic relationship, an outdated belief, or a long-standing habit, letting go feels like losing a part of yourself. But in reality, it's an act of liberation. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with unnecessary weight. Each item you remove makes the journey lighter and more enjoyable. This year, identify what no longer serves you and have the courage to release it. Self-care is another aspect we often misunderstand. It's not just about indulgences or occasional treats. True self-care is about consistently nurturing your mind, body, and spirit. It's about creating a life that you don't need to escape from. In 2025, prioritize rest. Seek joy in simple moments. And cultivate habits that replenish your energy. And as you nurture yourself, you'll notice a ripple effect. The energy you project will attract like-minded people, opportunities, and experiences. You'll inspire others not by preaching, but by living authentically. This is the power of self-focus. It not only transforms your life but also positively impacts those around you. So as you step into 2025, remember this: you are your greatest investment. The work you do on yourself will ripple out into every area of your life. Embrace the journey. Trust the process. And know that every step you take is bringing you closer to the person you're meant to be. Let this be the year you focus on yourself unapologetically. And watch as the world around you transforms in response.